see this play out in the next 10 years, that anytime they feel like this is what's in the neighborhood, they can go in there and extract, and the people in the neighborhood say, well, yeah, that's the bad element. That's the least of the least. And they part themselves from them and let them come in there and get them. See, this is all future tactical precision. They plotting it up. See, you can't act like you don't know who you're dealing with. These people created syphilis. These people created AIDS. They got Ebola now at 1.5 million people. You know what I'm saying? There is a full-fledged attack on them. You better act like you know what time it is. Right? It's for real now. You know, a lot of times we be like, yeah, hopefully in my lifetime, maybe we'll see the change coming out. It's going on in your lifetime. What you talking about? You know, like, are you watching TV? Are you seeing what's going on? But now what happening is, when we understand is now we know what's going on, but we're not movers of what's going on. When you look at a chessboard, you got people making moves, right? So everybody crying about, the people they put this position, so who gonna move the next piece? Right? Only masters move pieces. If you're playing the game, you can move the piece, right? But if you're not playing the game, you're going to wait till somebody else move the piece, right? And then you're going to be a pawn wherever they push you at. Wherever they tell you to see it at. This is the perspective. Da, da, da. So, oh no, this is the perspective. So you move over here. So who is controlling the chessboard? See, because the chessboard is a mental game, right? It's strategic. So you have to really look at what's going on. So now when we look at it, we start the definition, we have to understand that the brother that they're saying is a criminal. The brothers that they say is a threat, these brothers have a legal claim, which is a spiritual claim. Listen to what I'm about to tell you now. It is a legal claim, but it is a spiritual claim, but you will not know it unless you accept the truth and the knowledge of yourself. Their claim is called a state of duress. In the legal court, you have what's called a state of duress. Anybody know what that is? See, they tell you this when you take pleas. Most people think that's all it's about. It ain't about no plea. See, they trick the young brothers by saying, well, you know, if you come in, did anybody coerce you to take this plea? You know, even though, yeah, everything you did coerced the brother to take the plea. You know what I'm saying? Everything you did. You told him he's going to sit in this county jail forever unless he take this plea and go ahead and go up the road and come back. He tired of sitting there. You know what I'm saying? So he be like, man, about this, I'm going to take the plea. I understand the county plea. So that's coercion. But that's not state of duress. State of duress is a threat. It is a pressure that is placed on your life. That's what I'm saying. State of duress is a pressure that is placed on your life that forces you to make decisions that would be considered illegal, but you would not make it if you was not under state of duress. If our people never have Islam, never have their peace, is that a state of duress if you're not at peace? If you're not at peace, you in a state of chaos, right? So now, if your life has been a living state of duress, right? Y'all understand it? Y'all understand. See, the key is his life. The key is his life. Let me say this. The key is his life. See, you don't understand life, right? How many of you ever experienced jealousy? Yeah. Everybody's experienced jealousy. Now, this is the question. Where did jealousy happen? See, it wasn't in your blood, was it? It wasn't something you drunk and then all of a sudden you start feeling, damn, I feel jealous. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nobody like that, right? Where did you feel jealous at?
In a state of duress.
Where did you feel jealous at? If you felt in your mind. That's your conscious being. You understand that? That's your life force. You understand? Your life force is not this. Remember they say when your body dies, you move on? Right? That's your spirit. That's your being. That's your conscious essence. Right? That's your conscious essence. That's your life force. That's your conscious essence. That conscious essence only supposed to have fear for the Creator. And if you put fear on that conscious essence senses death every day. Now you can walk around it like you get comfortable with it, but every day the black man's true nature is being suppressed by this system. And economics, politics, and everything, this system is not trying to do that. They're not trying to lift that essence up out of it. They want the black man to fear, right? When he does not fear, from the advantage of the system, they say that he is a threat. That's from the advantage of the system. Now, from the advantage of our people, we don't see that as a threat. Listen now, because that's why I put the thing out on last week with the video about the spirit of fear and the warrior spirit. Right? See, these people want you to have a spirit of fear. Your Creator never created you a spirit of fear. Right? Now think, if you were down, you part of the intelligence of the Creator, would you fear anything on this planet? You're ready to deal with anything and everything. Right? And you ready to be free. Right? See, this is our mantra. This is our mantra. Brother just told you, you just said it. Love, life, light, liberation. We did this one day with economics, right? Because people say economics, because this thing got to be bigger than just Charles Smith. We had to show our people how to unite. So we have to teach them to think again. Because they cannot see the deception that's being done to their mind. And then we start to perceive it from the precepts of the enemy, and they start to define the reality of our life. You understand that? Yeah. Of our life. Yeah. So then they tell us that the brothers in the neighborhood, these 20 young men, is a threat. No, these 20 young men are fighting for their life essence because they don't want the system to extinguish. That's right. You see what I'm saying? Listen to what I'm saying, because you got to see it. Because, listen, people say, oh man, them boys, they crazy. They don't care nothing about life. They just die in the street. No, they care so much about their life. That essence. See, it's that last little bit of warrior essence, and if you make the system make you bow down to it in any form, it's like at that point in time you've killed that nature. That's right. You understand that? You see, like that nature wants to be liberated. It does not want to comply and bow down to a system that's trying to extinguish the truth of itself. You understand that? Y'all don't get it, do you? Yeah. Y'all get this? Yeah, we got you. Like, because you have to understand, like, because when a brother in the street, you say, man, he in the street, he in the criminal, no, he just don't want to lose his. See, people, before he'd rather give that life essence up, he'd rather be a warrior in the street and die in the street. You understand it? That is called a strong spirit. That's right. The enemy tells you that you need to get rid of them. That's the problem. But if you can see what that means, then you go to him and say, bro, I understand your struggle. I know what you're fighting for. I know why you'll be a thug out here. I know why you'll say you'll die out here in these streets rather than bow down and comply with this system. I know, because you're fighting for your life essence, which, guess what? You only supposed to fear the Creator. You right, bro. You ain't wrong. It's called justification. People say that Jesus was supposed to justify the wrong people, right? Right? But you ain't got the Christians justifying the brothers. They're not justifying, they're going with the system. That's right. They saying the brother wrong. Y'all wrong, man. Y'all out here with the pistol, y'all out here in the game, and y'all doing this. No, don't brother spirit said that, guess what? They'd rather be a warrior against the system and hold on to that little essence of memory. Because like if you extinguish that, think if you die when you extinguish that. You know what I'm saying? It's like you submitted to the darkness of you, like you just decided to close my eyes forever. And if you die in that state, you know, like you shut your soul down. That's right. You know, so you can't understand like how brothers really feel in the desperation of the streets. That's desperation, right? That's desperation, because when the system come and try to make them set the definition that they're wrong. See, somebody's giving us an identity. They're creating an identity. And they're creating the identity from their advantage. See, we can't look at that identity from their advantage. We have to look at what's going on in our people. And when we talk about it, like, you know, brothers hear me say, we talk about, but we, you know, I kind of incorporate, but when you understand the science of our nature, and you know that these people know the science of your nature, this is the reality of it. Now, I'll give you one little statement, and we're going to deal with something on kind of the same level, but I'm going to give you one statement. Everybody kind of where I'm at, where we at? Oh, yeah. Because it's really, like, in the essence of it, is our minds is the first tribulation that we got to deal with. And it's like, if we really, like, if me and you standing together and we say we want justice for Charles Smith, and me and you standing together, we want justice for Charles Smith, but you're looking at the situation from the advantage of the enemy, and I'm looking at it from a different perspective. Even though we standing together, we ain't together. Right. You know what I'm saying? Because every time the enemy defines something, you go with the definition. And I'm looking at you like, damn, why you going with the definition of him? That ain't what. But then if you go along with it, you make the enemy comfortable for coming in the neighborhood and do whatever he wants to because he said his definition of rule. We say, well, how your definition rule?
That's right. That's right.
How your definition rule? This is what the enemy does. Now I'll give you another example of what the enemy does so we understand spiritual science. Because of spiritual warfare, because many of you might not understand it. Now, in Black Messiahs, we took the lessons of everybody. Nation of Islam, Black Panthers, and everything. We dealt with them, we developed them. This is Black Messiahs, an organization that was developed after 7 years. I did with like 14 in the federal. In 7 years of the federal system, a group of brothers, we were studying all of the organizations, all of the techniques and everything, and we were dealing with everything that the brothers were dealing with, and we'd say, okay, well, let's take the good of this, the good of that, let's deal with this, let's see what went wrong. Okay, the Black Panthers was powerful, but they eliminated the essence. They eliminated the science. See, when you live in science, because, see, what happened is the European bombarded us so much, and the religion, the vision that bombarded us so much, that when the Pan-African movements and the strong Black power movements came up, they said, well, man, we can't even deal with religion. We just have to deal with Pan-Africanism, right? But the European was happy, because now you have disadvantaged yourself. You're going to allow him to control the definition of the spiritual reality of this world.
That's right.
That's how he rules. You've allowed him to control the definition of the spiritual reality of this world. Again, we have allowed him to control the definition of the spiritual reality of this world. I'll say it again. We have allowed him to control the definition of the spiritual reality of this world. He controls the spiritual reality definition of the spiritual reality of this world. And if your mind accepts the definition of the spiritual reality of the world, and your mind is a projector, the holographic projector of the reality of this world, then he's got you to create his matrix. He's got you to seal his matrix. He needs your energy, your mental construct to seal his matrix. The minute you decide to redefine is the minute you decide to be liberated. The minute you decide to redefine is the minute you decide to be liberated. See, when you decide to redefine, that means you come to two components, right? You come to two components when you decide to redefine. What's the two components when you come to decide to redefine? Change your mind, change your mind, change the vibrations, change the vibration. Okay, let's deal with another word, deal with another word, deal with another word so we can close it out. Definition of the spiritual reality of this world. European comes into Africa, right? European comes into Africa. European comes into Africa, he comes into America. Number one thing, bro. I say this too, so Black Messiahs, y'all understand. We don't accept the Genesis story as per se, as they say. We understand the Genesis story is a science, right? I'm going to go quick little Genesis story kind of thing to give you a perspective, because I know if I put the seed in your mind, many of you are going to have to go research, right? All right. So I give you science to research. Nature represents everything in nature. Anything that happened in nature is still in nature. Y'all understand that? Yeah. Meaning the blueprint of nature you can find within nature. That's why people study patterns, geometrical shapes, and everything that's like that. Right? If nature is the beginning process of the birthing process of life on the planet, right? For you to understand the birthing process of man on the planet, all you have to do is study the birthing process within the woman's womb. When we tell you this, that man originally entered this planet, or entered this universe, he was as an etheric body, light body being. Y'all don't believe it? When you look into a woman's womb, there ain't nothing there. She has a thought. It's an electrical frequency, right? That electrical frequency causes an ovulation. When you look at the egg, the ovulation is just a movement of energy, spiraling. So this spiraling energy ball is then got simulated into a process where it starts to take on a nature. When the magnetical field on it changes, it goes to what's called androgynous. So the next stage of man on this planet, man was an androgynous being, meaning he was neither male nor female. See, this is the definition of who we are. See, you don't understand, because we say there never was a time when man was not. Let's live with a black hole so you understand where I'm coming from. If a star collapses and a black hole opens, it opens a worm, a vortex, right? If a sun collapses and it sucks all of the energy that was on that side of the vortex and births it back on the other side, right? And that starts a frequency. That intelligence then becomes a frequency that becomes planetary and becomes energy and becomes life forces, right? So that energy that was on the other side that comes on this side always existed. You understand that? People tell you that there never was a time when man was whatnot. They're telling you that the divine intelligence that makes up your being, meaning that you're stardust. Listen what I'm telling you. I'm giving you a whole lot. Meaning that you're stardust, meaning that you're the molecular structure of the universe. You're emanated. You're dark matter. So when that form comes out on the other side, the intelligence that always existed that was on the other side comes on this side is the same intelligence. So there never was a time when man was not. Meaning that you have never died. Meaning that you're a spiritual being. That you manifested into this physical plane. When you manifested in this physical plane, eventually you took on what we call molecular body states, right? And from our androgynous state, then we went to gender. And when we went to gender, we were dealing with a form called balance because we had to deal with sensualism. Once you became male and female, you had to deal with the natural sensualism, right? So the bodies are not really used to sensualism, so then we had to understand balance.
Science.
Nature of balance. Balance of nature. Right? So there's a whole story before Genesis, before you even get to where you start talking about this thing. I'm just drop that on you just to give it to you. Now, when the European came into Africa, I know I threw a lot of y'all. Y'all want me to finish the story? Y'all want me to finish the story? So y'all want me to finish the story? Yeah. Where I'm at? I forgot. Where I was at?
Balance.
Balance. Okay, all right, the balance. Okay, so when we talk about the balance, we're saying that man and woman, then at that point in time we become gender, we start to learn to deal with balance. Now, when we talk about balance, you must understand science. So we'll deal with science. So I'll say the quick thing for the science. How many of you are aware of that man has 7 bodies? You know the Quran said that Allah formed man is 7, right? Y'all know that, right? You have 7 bodies. Do you know that that was before the Quran, that was written in the Meta-Netters? Y'all know that, right? The 7 bodies of man. Y'all understand? So man has 7 bodies. But what happened was, in our time period, the 7 bodies formulated a symbol. But that symbol later on became the symbol which you call church. Because the church was the symbol of temple. So what I did was I give you geometry because geo is earth, right? The measurements of the earth, but you are the measurements of the earth. So that's where geometry and geometry came from, right? See, this is science now. European does not want you to understand the science of life because if you understand the science of life, then you understand the cycles and you understand the correct life, right? My people perish due to what? Knowledge. Right? So if you have no knowledge of self, then you could never save yourself. But your ancestors told you that if you had knowledge of self, that you could always overcome every problem. Right. Listen, but if you do not have knowledge of self, the enemy could trick you and make you think you are the problem. Right? The enemy could trick you and make you think you are the problem. How many of our people think they is the problem? How many brothers out there walking the streets say, I don't give a fuck shit. They done gave up. Because nobody has told them the truth of who they are. Right? Now before I go there, I'll say what I started to say again because I wanted you to tell me to finish the story so I can say the 7 bodies. But I had to make sure that you wanted it, right? So if you don't give it, if you give it to people, they just be like, yeah, he just gave me that, he don't mean nothing. You know what I'm saying? You gotta make sure that they say, yeah, I want it. Okay, you want it. So now when the European came into Africa, he came in all the indigenous lands, he told us that our people were pagan. Many black people today call our people pagan, heathens. You know what I'm saying? Say we don't believe in the one God reality, which is a lie. The European then listen, the European comes snatch you out your country, come back and tell you the definition of everything that went in your country. You say, damn, that's the truth. You know what I'm saying? That don't make no sense. If I come snatch you out your house and I drag you out your house and I leave you out your house for 20 years, then I come and tell you, you know what was in your house? You gonna let me tell you what was in your house?
You know,
huh? Fuck that, let me go back to my house. Right? Now you gonna tell me what's in my house. You just rob me, kidnap me, take me out there. You was talking about, I'm gonna tell you what's in the house. Tell me what's in the house. Why would I agree to let you tell me what's in the house? Right? Why would I agree to let you tell me what's in this world? When you said the world was flat and it was square, and if we went there and you fall, then next year you change, you say, oh no, the world round, but no, it's this type of shape, and you change that, I already know you confused. Why would I let you lead me? My people have a written history of science that goes back millions of years. So why am I going to let you who just pop up, who really show that you don't have no understanding of what the hell going on here, why am I going to let you lead me? Huh? The only way I let you lead me is if you make me afraid. See that? If you make me afraid, you will make me relinquish my God. If you make me relinquish my God, you make me relinquish my nature. That's right. Y'all get that? Yeah. If you relinquish your nature and you relinquish your God, do you have protection against your enemy? No. You don't. Will the enemy train you to claim that back?
Never.
That's called rites of passage. See, our ancestors always prepared that. That's why I tell you, like when young men start coming into that warrior spirit, the ancestors knew that you had to properly and rightfully give these brothers knowledge of self and train them so that those spiritual warriors. See, you got to understand that these brothers that they're afraid of the street, imagine this brother inclined spiritually, powerfully spiritually, he don't see no death. You know that's the enemy's worst fear? This is the story of the Maccabees. You understand that? That's the story of the Maccabees when they said that the Romans was coming to fight, and they like that's where the 300 really come from. You know, they keep acting like it's these Europeans, but that's where it really came from. When these 300 Maccabees would knock off 6,600 Roman soldiers like it was nothing, and they thought if they killed one leader, that ended the fight. But the Maccabees was already taught from birth and raised, and all the little boys was taught and raised that you is the Messiah. So when the army went to fight, when they killed one, chop his head off, the military of the Romans, they thinking, well, that's going to end the battle. We killed their leader. Then another brother rises back up and say, no, the leader lives within us all. Okay. Right? Now they say, damn, how do you fight an army of messiahs who don't see death? You can't. Right? So what they did, now I'm kind of taking you, I'm gonna give you there. So at the time period of this brother who was part of the Hasmonean dynasty, do your research. Who was part of the Hasmonean dynasty, the word Hasmonean comes from the Egyptian Kemetic king named Alkhemist. That's your Moses. See, there wasn't a man named Moses. They changed that whole story to throw you away. So when the Hasmonean dynasty, which came off the blood lineage of the 18th dynasty Kemetic king Alkhemist, his son Amenhotep, right? When that blood lineage created a blood lineage that ruled in what they called the Bashan or the Jerusalem, what you call Jerusalem area, right? And those Hasmoneans were part of a Kemetic dynasty. That's why when you read the stories in the Bible, and the Jews tell you, they say that there was a Hasmonean palace that Herod and them had took over. But they never tell you, well, what happened to the Hasmoneans? Well, who was the Hasmoneans? Right? So Yahshua ben Pandadar. See, this is where we go to your Jesus story. See, that's why people hold to Jesus, because that's their last memory of that reflective warrior spirit that came on the scene and said, well, the cracker telling you is your nature, that's not your nature. See, you divine like me. See, they're going to try to kill you when I try to give you this message. So they're going to try to knock me off, and then they're going to try to make you believe that there's only one Christ, so that you will always be looking in the sky waiting for something to come instead of becoming it yourself. But see, Jesus never, or Yahshua, I say Jesus so you know what I'm talking about. Yahshua ben Pandadar never told nobody that. He said there will come a time where people would deceive many people by saying that I am the Christ. See, listen what he said now. He didn't say that they will be saying they are the Christ. He would say people will be deceived when they come in the last days to tell you that I am the Christ. Because he was telling you, I can't be the Christ. I'm the Christ within, the Christ is within me, but the same thing is in me is within you. So a brother came on the scene trying to teach you your nature 2,000 years ago when the enemy was first trying to set this place in control, and he was trying to tell you about your nature. They crucified him, killed him, right? Then tell you the story of what he came to do. What's in your house? Right? This way you at. Yes, right. And we still sitting there, now we debating about, I'm with Jesus. I'm with Jesus. I'm with Allah. What y'all missing? 7 bodies, Jesus coming, 7 candlesticks, 7 chakras, 7 spirits sent forth into all the earth, into all of creation. So you are a holder of 7 spirits, 7 bodies. The Quran said it. Jesus came. Revelations represented it. Genesis represented 7 days, 7 days of creation. Everybody was trying to teach you a science later on down the line when the enemy came, but they just couldn't write it all the way outright. So they were creating those stories to hand down that maybe you would break it down later on so that the enemy wouldn't just take the story and throw it away. You know what I'm saying? Because if they just wrote the story out and said, I'm just going to always leave a science for my people to have the knowledge of themselves. Well, shit, we already know. You destroyed the metadata. You done knocked the nose off the space. You in there trying to take the walls away. And we write this book and we put it that way. We're just outright telling our people that. What the enemy going to do? Oh, shit. Burn that shit there. We didn't put that out. So our people say, well, we're going to have to fake a little bump because if we don't have this knowledge in place when it gets later down the line, then our people are going to be fucked up. So we need to have a little bit of the knowledge of themselves hidden and written within the scriptures. Right? So the first key of understanding that, and what we're going to do, because we got to close, y'all. what we're going to do and understand that, now yeah, we got a little more minutes, but I'm trying to pull it up. All right, what we have to do to understand that is, when we get to this point, we talk about the 7 bodies, right? Right? So the European, he come in our countries. And I say our countries because I started off with the etheric bodies and all that, because I want to understand that the country, not the country, the planet originally was one landmass. In science, they call it Pangea. Now, Pangea got destroyed by a meteorite shower, and from the meteorite shower and the dust cloud, it caused the Ice Age. And from the Ice Age, then you get birthed into the millennium times that we start entering in now. Right? But what happened before this time period, the European don't tell you about that because it didn't exist before that.
That's right.
You understand that? He didn't exist before that. You understand that? Yeah. And he's not going to educate you on that because then that places him in a lesser position than you.
That's right.
But he came and told you in the last few years. But he had to tell you because he's afraid if he don't tell you something when you finally figure it out and you put it out there, then you gonna claim that you putting it out there. So the European smart, he'll put a little bit out there. So if you do pop up and say this is what we were saying all along, I don't know what you're talking about. Right? So what they did, they came out in the last few years and they brought an article out and they said that Neanderthal, right? Listen now, the Neanderthal, you can Google it. You can Google it. All you can take your phone out right now if you want to. You can Google it. The Neanderthal has no connection to the African blood lineage. That's the truth. We don't come from the caveman. We came from the Creator. We've been on the planet from the molecular intelligence of the Creator, not a fallen nature. Not a fallen nature. How did the fallen nature come about on the planet? See, that's why I have to understand, so you can see your enemy, right? Because if you walk out here and we don't make you see, then we ain't did our job. If we can make you see, make your mind open a little bit, then your job has been done. Because when your mind is open and you can see, then you can identify. Right? Then you don't need nobody to identify for you. And at that point in time, you have reclaimed your mind, and the process of liberation has begun. And guess what? If you don't love that, then you don't love life. If you don't love that, you don't love life. Now, in that process, the enemy does 2 things, right? He take your mind and he make you define things. So when you look at this, you say, okay, well, my ancestors, they came on the planet, and the enemy come in, and he said, our people pagan. He said, damn, your people worship the tree, your people worship rock. That's the devil. Because we want to be right with God, right? Right? That's our thing. Oh shit, that ain't right with God. I'm getting over here. See, they ain't got to say no more. That's black people nature. Because we want it so bad. See, somebody uses your nature against you because you don't understand. Well, I ain't in peace, and any peace I can have, and I don't want to lose the little blessing I can get if I can get in heaven. See, that's our nature. Our nature wants to be aligned with that. That's how you know people be shitting us by saying black people is crazy, right? And they like that. We know that's not right, right? We know that's not right. So when they tell you this, they say, okay, we say, damn. The people come in and they say that our people is pagan. Well, okay. You say the Neanderthal, caveman, bastard. And you say the things show that Neanderthal had no blood connection to the African. Right? Alright. Now let's look at the Neanderthal mindset. Neanderthal mindset come on the scene. He say, you pagan. Correct? Listen, why does the Neanderthal say that? Is what you have to realize. And if you can't really explain it, you understand it, you can't really see it, you understand. Why does the Neanderthal come and tell you pagan? Because what did the Neanderthal not like about your societies and about your mindset that he had to make you see your mindset in a wrong form, right? And make you come back out. So he tells you that you're a pagan. So you say, well, nah, yeah, my people did. They were looking at that tree and they were singing around that tree and they were dancing with the women and they was doing all that. And I said, yeah, that ain't right. That man took that chicken head and he pulled that blood around and see our people were roots and all that. See, we think that's what we think, right? Because that's what you understand. Who taught you that's what they were doing? Who told you what they were doing? How many people really understand the ceremony? How many people ever did research to really see? Like, that's like, how, if your boyfriend or your girlfriend tell you something, you look into it, right? Because you want to make sure they're telling the truth or something right there. But we don't look look into stuff when the people told us that. Now, when they say we are pagan, we deal with that pagan reality, they tell us our people are pagan because we worship everything, right? That's what we think?
Yeah.
All right. This is the word. In the beginning, I'm going to use a word. I don't like beginning. I don't like to say beginning because it never the time manner, but I'll say beginning for we can have an understanding, right?
Yeah.
I had to clarify that just for mental state. In the beginning, there was nothing but the Creator, right? Nothing but God, right? Nothing but the Creator. If the Creator created everything, what would the Creator create everything out of? There's nothing else. Ain't no trash pile. Ain't no wood stack, right? If in the beginning there's only the Creator, and the Creator says, I'm going to create all of this, all of life. What is the Creator creating everything out of? Out of Himself, out of herself, out of spiritual self, right? Right? So, when our people are on the planet, right? Because the Bible tell you this. It's Romans chapter 8. You go back and read it. Romans chapter 8. It's called the carnal mind versus the spiritual mind. See, that's why I tell you that when they quote certain things that Yahshua ben Pandadar was supposed to say, they throw you all the way off by teaching you from their advantage. But Yahshua ben Pandadar, some people you call it Jesus, came and he said, he started teaching them about carnal mind and spiritual mind. See, our ancestors were spiritually minded people. So our ancestors, they didn't see you just as a girl. See, they seen the spiritual essence in you. And they knew that the Creator's force within you. So they would call you a goddess. See, that's not a disrespect to the Creator. That means they made you a relationship with the Creator. Meaning they made you a divine, they accepted your divine nature because the Creator can't create nothing but divineness, right? Because that's the Creator's reality. So they accepted that reality. When they seen the water, they seen a spiritual reality. They didn't see water. See, a carnal-minded person just wants to say that's just water, hydrogen, H2O, and that's how you got to deal with it. But the spiritual people say, no, that water got memory, and no matter what you do, that water going to remember what you do. And that's something else in there. So that water got consciousness. So our people know you can't trick it because that's part of the intelligence of the Creator. So the intelligence of the Creator is registering everything based on vibration. Right? So they understood based on how your mind sees nature, nature responds to you. That's why nature don't produce everything in the planet like it used to, because our mental state is not in congruence or not in harmony or balance with nature, right? So when our ancestors said that they seen that tree was a spiritual tree, right? That's how they defined it, right? And they defined it based on spirit, right? Because they understood it came from the Creator. So they honored it. See, the European don't honor it. That's why he'll dirty the water. He'll chop down all the trees. See, because he don't see it in a spiritual minded essence, which our people seen. Now, what does that mean? Alright. But guess what? The reality of all things, the enemy cannot escape. He just needs you to create the mental state that makes him feel like he escaped the truth of the matter, and he needs you to accept it. Now I'm going to prove that to you, right? And this is the closing out, and I hope this takes y'all minds to the next level, and that you realize that there's more to life than you've ever been aware of. We call this the 7 bodies. We gave you a circle, a triangle, and a square. Right? When you went to school, when you went to kindergarten, these are some of the first things you learned. We tell a lot of brothers, like when you first start coming in cipher and you trying to train your mind, we recommend supreme mathematics, supreme alphabet. Why? It's because it teaches your mind to think in a decoding manner. You know what I'm saying? It makes your mind think in a decoding manner. So you have to see that stops you from visualizing life in a flat line. So when you use supreme mathematics, that's like if I say, I'm going to spell a word for you. 1, 16, 16, 12, 5. Adam and Eve, that's a hint. 1, 16, 16, 12, 5. Oh, is it right? Yeah? Yeah. That's right. What is it?
1, 16.
1, 16, 16, 12, 5. 1 is A. The 16th letter of the alphabet is P. So you got A, 2 P's. Apple. Apple. Adam and Eve, key word, right? But see, you would have looked at the numbers as just numbers. Like that's what they do in the scripture. The scripture might give you a date, but it's really a word. They might give you a word, but you have to decode the word to get a date. You understand that? So what we do is tell brothers to start doing supreme mathematics, supreme alphabet, so that their mind learns not to flatline, right? So now when you start looking at the dimensions and things, right? Because if you don't see the dimensions and things, you don't have a building block, right? So you need building blocks. Your mind needs to be able to build. See, we want to train brothers to be master builders. Master your craft. Listen what I'm telling you now. You must be a master of your craft. Many of y'all know that from masonry, where they say the brothers are supposed to be masters of their craft. But what I'm going to teach you is that your craft is this. This is a craft. You know what a craft is? A craft is called a vessel, a spaceship. This is a spaceship. This is your Stargate. Right? Right? There were many ships around the great ship. I don't know if any of y'all ever heard that. You know, there's a mothership and there's many ships that ascend around the mothership. Meaning that all of you represent the bodies of light. And the mothership is nature. Nature is light. But these many ships shall ascend at a certain point in time. That represents the crystallized city. That's the nebula. That's a consciousness coming into the crystallized form. That's why it's called a crystal city. The crystallized form is the Christ consciousness. Meaning there will be a masses of people that will come into a Christ consciousness. This is what I'm telling you now. Listen what I'm telling you now. There will be a masses of people that will come into this because the universe, the society, the earth had originally had this many people, had not no little bit of people conscious, right? So y'all don't believe it, right? That's why they're telling you about the polar shift and everything changing, right? Many of you, if you're not in line with the polar shift that's going on in your body, many of you are going through different ailments. I know I'm going through an ailment right here, so I said, yeah, I'm going to have to do a detox and get my stuff ready because my joint hurts right here. See, many of you don't understand that when the planetary shift starts to take place, it's causing you a disbalance in your body, right? So many of you are not alkaline. Your body is not balanced, right? So you're going to start going through greater ailments than you ever did because the nature is going to be forcing you to come aligned. And if you choose not to come aligned, it becomes a torture factor, right? See, those that won't come aligned, nature going to be fighting you. Right? Yeah. Nature going to fight you. Remember, that's why we say, oh, I ain't got to talk no plot about we going to get some guns and go out here and kill all the people and kill the white people and all that. No, we ain't got to talk that because nature, right? Nature, and they escape nature. Alright, so just like that, I'm going to go back and I'm going to start you over so we can close out. Now, the European told you it was pagan because he gave you a perceptive, but he can't escape nature. Right? No matter what he does, he can't escape the truth of nature, even though he tries to make you escape nature, but he needs your mind to help him solidify his reality. So when the European came to you, he said that, guess what? There's a word called atom, A-T-O-M, atomical energy, right? The definition to the European of atomical energy is energy that can neither be destroyed nor created. Listen now, if energy can neither be destroyed nor created, the only thing the enemy told you was that everything is spirit. He just said it in a different word. He couldn't escape the reality in which your ancestors already told you. But he could make you view it from his advantage and make you think that you don't know what's going on. That's right. They're scientists. They're in there dealing with atoms and atomical energy and you know, they're dealing with proton and ionizer. I'm not that smart. But the man told you he don't even know what it is. He says just energy that can neither be destroyed nor created. And we're in the laboratory. We're just saying, damn, this is amazing. No matter what we do, and it's intelligent. We can make an electron. It knows when we put a wall up, so we try to set it down there, it stops. They're like, how the hell did it do that? So they study, they say, because it's intelligence, it's spiritual intelligence. But our ancestors already told us that. That's why they told you to respect nature. But they came behind our ancestors and told us that we were pagans and we were worshiping nature. And now they're learning now, today, like, yeah, we need to go green. Go green. Who told y'all that? Huh? So it's like, where first they trick us and put us in the degraded position, right? Get us to follow all of their ignorance. Right? While they're trying to study and come out of their ignorance. Right? Yep. But they enslave us in their ignorance. Yep. Then they try to say we on this path of green and spirituality and peace and love. When y'all found us, this is what we told you, and you came in our village and you killed us and you took us and raped us. Now you acting like because you done broke us down to a savage mental state that you're now you the better people. Huh? You understand that? And now, the definitions that they got us stuck with mentally that keeps us in a state, they running away from them. And our people will argue you up and down right now that those same statements is the truth. And you say, man, he come out in the day telling you you're a goddamn mistake. Do you understand that? The man man telling you every day he made a mistake. I cuss y'all, because that's why I'm a thug. I tell you, I'm not a preacher. I'm not a preacher. I am a thug. Listen, I know that the Creator ain't thinking about that word. But when y'all want to be emotional and think about the word, I mean the Creator has given your mind so many illusions to be scared of. That's all he did. He gave you an illusion to be scared. Now, we'll say right language for the kids and try to say, okay, that. But I'm going to let you know that the Creator has taught you to fear those things, taught you to find everything to make yourself be a sinner. So that you can kind of say that you on a sinner level and you can't do nothing right but be a sinner. So, you know, like, I tell brothers, I don't deal with fear factor. I got teachers like Bobby Hemmett, Phil Valentine, them brothers I've been building for years. The Honorable, you know, he done rose to the higher heights. The Honorable Freeman CL, all of them. I mean, I used to drive him around Atlanta, pick him up. You know what I'm saying, brother? So, them my teachers. We deal with science.
Scholars.
Right. That's why we say in Black Messiahs, we say Asafo. Warrior scholars. Meaning that we warrior scholars because our people need warrior scholars. Why we need warrior scholars? Because we need healing. Right? If you got a sickness, ain't nobody going to study to find the cure for you. The enemy is not going to study to find the cure for you. The enemy is trying to trick you. So we need scholars that understand that our people need mental healing, spiritual healing, all of it's one and the same. So when the enemy told you that there was astronomical energy, and he told you that it was energy that could neither be destroyed nor created, he was telling you that it was spiritual reality. And when the scripture told you that, from the Quran to the Bible told you that man has 7 bodies. Man's 7 bodies are spirit, soul, mind. That's called the triune. That's your Trinity. That's the Father, the Mother, and the Holy. That's the Father, the Mother, and the Son. Right? That's the Holy Spirit, the Father. That's your Trinity. That's your triune. That's the King, the Prophet, and the Priest. These things all come in codes. The King, the Prophet, and the Priest. Right? Right? You understand? So the higher nature of man is represented by the triune, which is his spirit, his soul, and his mind. The lower nature of man is represented by what they call his emotional body, his astral body, his life force, his physical body. Many of you say, well, what are these things? Many of you know that you have a spirit. Many of you know that you have a mind. Many of you know that you have a soul. You say, well, what's your emotional body, right? Right? Yes. Your emotions is like this, right? The ocean. They're up and down, right? So let's do like this. So I'll break it down. 7 bodies, 7 down 6, 7 spirits. Spirit, soul, mind, emotional body, astral body, life force, physical body. Now listen now. In the beginning of Genesis, Genesis says, let us create man in our image and our likeness. The word that they use is called us. In the Hebrew language, that was Elohim. It was not Elo. Elohim is plural. Elo is singular, right? So what the thing was telling you, they said the Elohim. Many people argue about what was Elohim, but Elohim in the text was originally dealing with the 7 angelical spirits. The 7 spirits sent forth, that was Raphael, Gabriel, Uriel. They talk about the 7 angels. But the thing was not 7 angels. See, because in Greek it said angelos, but before, when they first translated, it was not angelos, it was theos. And when it meant theos, meaning it was gods, the 7 spirits of the gods, the 7 gods. But it was talking about the 7 stages of the God nature. That's why in Kemet they talked about it. And they tried to tell you that you had a spirit, a soul, and a mind. That represented your higher nature. That your mind is the keeper of what they call the crossroad. Remember? Because your mind can dwell in the higher nature or the lower nature. Y'all understand this? Now you can say, Brother Lazarus, what's the key to this? Alright, here's the key to this. In Genesis chapter 1, verse 26, they said, let us make man in our image and our likeness. I'm telling you that the us is Elohim, talking about the 7 bodies. Meaning the 7 bodies, the science of the 7 bodies is what will make man into an angelical being or make man into a demon. You understand that? Will make man into a knowledgeable being or make man into one that is not knowledgeable of himself, and he will operate in the lower nature, meaning he will fall down to his beastly nature, meaning that the beast will override the man, right? That's the Sphinx where the mind is supposed to be over the beast, right? The head is supposed to be over the beast. That's the beast nature. That's why the Sphinx is on 4s, right? The knees, the 4s. That symbolizes the 4. The 4 is the square. The square is when we say we stand on. But why do we say square? Because we say that in Genesis chapter 1 verse 26 says, let us create man, right? Man is man, right? But then man out of man is drawn a woman. But the Bible didn't say woman. It said that there was a mother of all living things. Eve was called the mother of all living things. Which the mother of all living things in the dictionary mean that she's not a woman. It's not a woman. Because a woman cannot be the mother of a cat, a rat, a dog, and a cow. So when it was given to you, you flatlined it. You wanted it to be a story about a man and a woman in the past that ate an apple and they caused all this to be messed up. So when you flatlined, you missed the dimensions within the story. So when you flatlined it, you made it a dead letter. So if it's a dead letter, then you made your nature dead to you. But if you understand your true nature, see, you won't make it a dead letter. You'll deal with it in the dimensions of it. So when it said matter, when it said mother of all living things, we understood in the Latin dictionary. That's why you studied that the Bible went through Latin, Hebrew, and Greek, right? And they played with the words. Every time they knew how to play with the words. The word mother was a word named, was matter. Matter. In Latin dictionary, matter is mother. Matter is mother. So now you have atom, atomical energy, spiritual energy. Spiritual energy, intelligence, spiritual energy placed into a deep sleep, right? Sleep represents slowed down, right? If you sleep, your atomical energy slows down. When atomical energy slows down, it becomes matter. So that means out of atom drawn, out of spirit came matter. Out of spirit came this physical world. So the scripture was not talking about a man and a woman, it was talking about a science of your nature. But you will not be taught that. They will teach you that's just about a flatline story about something happened in the past. Because if it's flatline, that means it's something that, guess what? It's dead. I mean, because you can't change it. It happened back there. That's the reality. It's dead to you. It's dead. You flatline. Right? You flatline. But when you see the dimensions, if you give it life now. Right? Now here we go. Last stage, brother. Last stage. The last stage, because we got to be there at 8:30. Last stage. In Genesis, it says man was given dominion over the fishes of the sea, the fowls of the air, the cattle of the land, and creeping things on the earth. Right? Now, when people tell that story, we assume that that's about fishes, cattle, and all that. So we flatline it. We can't see. Somebody has taught us to see it from their advantage and from their perspective, so that we will never see, because our advantage and our perspective is what our ancestors told us. Know thyself. So our advantage is to read it from the perspective of the knowledge of self. Not from the perspective of being asleep, but from the perspective of seeing. Right? Identifying our true nature. So when they said man was given dominion over the fishes of the sea, fish dwell in water. Water is this. This is a symbol of water. Your emotions is water. They're up and down, right? And that's how water is, right? One day you're happy, next day you sad. That's why they say Jonah fell into the waters, right? The beast dwells in where? The water. So many of you will get consumed in your emotional nature, and the beast will swallow you. And the only way you will get out is based on your three days, which symbolizes your three natures, your mind, your soul, and spirit. So unless your mind frees you, you will be stuck in the waters in the belly of the beast. And the belly of the beast in Jonah, he told you that there's a mountaintop at the bottom of the ocean, there's bars around it. See, he wasn't talking, you know, ain't no bars around no mountain at the bottom of the ocean. He's talking about the mountain symbolize your mind, and that you've been blocked in, you've jailed yourself in an emotional state, and so now you stuck down here in the belly of the beast, and the beast dwells within the waters in emotion. That's the lower nature. But the Christ self, who operates in the Trinity, the higher nature, see, he don't drown in the water. He walks on top of the emotional state, right? He takes the emotional waters and he turns them to wine, because he's an alchemist, so he knows how to take the emotional state and turn it into what? Rejuvenation. Spiritual rejuvenation, which symbolizes the wine, right? That's the resurrection, right? Because the resurrection within you is when your mind states change. Your mind state then changes the chemical reaction in your body, which then changes your blood type. Listen to what I'm saying now. When your mind state changes, then it changes the chemical reaction within your body, which then changes your blood type. Listen to what I'm about to tell you. Now here is the key to the whole story. The three higher natures, mind, soul, and spirit, they represent Adam, right? The four lower natures represent Eve. Listen to what I'm about to tell you. Eve is matter. Adam is what? Atomical energy. So the spirit would be called the neutron, because spirit is neutral. It doesn't take sides. Spirit is the neutron. Listen to what I'm teaching you now. Spirit is the neutron. The soul is the proton, because the proton follows the motion or dictates by the electron. The electron is the elect. That's called the mind. Because your mind has the ability to elect which type of charge it will carry, a lower charge or a higher charge. This is why they tell you you are an electrical being. So when I check you, I'm going to check you with EKG, I'm going to check your electrical frequency, right? You check my muscles based on electrical pulses. You check my whole being, you check me based on electrical. So I'm an electrical being. I'm the electricity. See, electricity is electricity. See, they even told you in the word electricity that it was the electricity. Meaning the tri is the higher nature, the triune, that the city. What is the city? The city of God. If they had known from whence they came, they would not search for a city because they had known from whence they came was from God. So the city represents your nature. That's why they say Enoch built a city. And that's why Jerusalem in the last days represents a city that ascends out of the heavens. Meaning your nature going to come out of the consciousness of your mind and going to restore your earth, right? And that makes you the kingdom of God on earth as it is in heaven. Y'all kind of understand it? Meaning there's a whole cipher there. So now when you do the triune, you say that the spirit is the neutron, the soul is the proton, and the mind is the electron. Meaning atomical energy is what creates matter, right? So your higher nature, your spiritual world, creates your lower nature. Y'all understand that? Mm-hmm. So that means when we say that the lower nature is water, the fish, right? Air. What's air? The fowls of the, right? The Bible telling you air. The cattle of the land. Many people get confused about the cattle of the land, but the cattle of the land symbolize workforce, right? It tilled the earth. It was called fire because alchemists understood the first element of change was alchemy, was fire. So they called the cattle of the land the tillers of the earth. That was called fire. So you had water, air, fire. Then they say creeping things on the earth. So you have water, air, fire, earth. But it was a code put to you, but we flatlined the story. So what they did was tell you that they were describing matter. See, right there in Genesis, genealogy, Genesis, the gene of Isis, no mortal man shall look into what? Isis's veil. Veil is nature, the nature, mother nature, nature. You understand that? So you have atomical energy that formulates, becomes matter, representing the 7 bodies of man. So the 7 bodies of man is represented in the science of the European under atomical energy. But you don't know this science, and you don't know how science even correlates with your nature. But now, if you was to teach young men from day one about that this science, this atomical energy is about the science of their nature, do you think young black boys would learn science better? Do you think they would learn mathematics better? Because then it would apply to them. See, but the European teachers use everything from an advantage of them, so they never make it apply to them. They make it where it don't apply to them, so our boys become disfranchised from education, because now the European is not trying to draw the truth out of them. He's trying to make them denounce their truth, and their nature feels it, so they reject education, period. And then we say, oh, y'all some dummies because y'all don't know what we stood for in the 60s, and we went to school, and we suffered, and y'all don't want no education. And them boys saying, y'all crazy because y'all trying to make me relinquish my spirit to a goddamn enemy. I'm sorry, ma'am. To an enemy, and I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to school. I'm going to reject it. I'm going to break it down. So then when the boys do that, we follow the people. We look at the people, and the people say, man, them kids don't want to go to school. They ain't nothing. And we don't understand our own people. And we say, damn, y'all looking at the kids from the perspective of your enemy, and you've let the enemy give you a definition to define them as negative instead of defining them as positive. That's why we need alchemical lessons to teach brothers and sisters how to take the negative or what the enemy has given you as lead and turn it to gold, because we call those the unhewed stones to the temple that they want to throw away. And we won't throw them away. We will use them to build. You understand that? And that's what Black Messiah is about. Now, I did a lot of information in there just to kind of give you something that you would walk away and say, well, you know, I got to study, I got to learn, I got to build my conscience, I got to fight the tricks of the mind. And that's our objective, because we know if you come to that stage, then you'll come into your messiahship. You come into your God self, which is not an insult to anybody's religion or nothing. Because every religion is trying to lead you to the truth of yourself. Supposedly, right? But if a religion tells you you can't deal with the truth of yourself, you got to question it, brother. You got to question it. You got to, because that is a strategical ploy to disenfranchise you and make you powerless people. And when you learn the science, you become powerful, you teach your children to be powerful, and you teach them to be liberated. Now, the last thing is love, life, light, liberation. The Creator so loved that there became life. And in this life, we find light. And this light shall liberate us from the darkness of our tribulation. But many people will reject light in the time of darkness. You understand that? Many people will reject light in the time of darkness. But for you to do anything, you're going to have to come to love. And if you're afraid to love yourself because somebody has taught you that it was wrong, if you're afraid to deal with your history because somebody has taught you it's wrong, then that certain person has cut you off from love. If they cut you off from love of self, they cut you off from life. You understand that? Let me show you how this goes for business so we can close out. If you can't, for your business to take life, right, you're going to have to get a love from the people. And once you build love, that's called building a following. Now your business got some life. But if you ain't got no love, see, your business ain't going to never take life. Right? And then you ain't going to never see the light out of the dark hole in which you done put your money in your business and then you stuck. And now you ain't liberated, you in debt. Right? So love, life, light goes to everything in life. If you do not love yourself, then you have not claimed life. You understand that? And our people have been trained not to love themselves. That's why in our neighborhood we see death. Yeah. That's why young black men killing each other. Yeah. And until we redefine and make them love who they are based on their nature, because you got to heal that nature, then we ain't going to see nothing but death in our neighborhood. That's why we have to educate the minds to see that they've been tricked out of their life. And our people have to be at one accord with this. They have to be one accord to understand and to see this. That is the spiritual power. Because once all our minds see that spiritual truth in ourselves, there's an energy that will emit from you. Listen what I'm saying. There is an energy that will be released from your being. See, you don't even understand how deep this craft is. You just believe if the enemy develops spaceships and boats with guns and all kind of defense mechanisms, and if they access them, let me tell you something, the Creator is the best of all planners. And the Quran says Allah is the best of all planners. Right? Creator is the best of all planners. You best believe that you have a high defense mechanism. And if you access your Stargate, because I'm going to say that. Now, if you access your Stargate, which I started to say earlier when I said the red flag of the moon and the star, that represents the pineal and the pituitary. That's called your third eye. But what happens is they've tricked you where you got your pineal gland calcimated and you can't turn your system on. And they taught you to eat the wrong foods and think the wrong thoughts. But if you can activate your system, the power that emanates from you is a lot more powerful than the enemy will ever teach you. And our people emanate that power at one time, you could change the world. I don't believe that. I know that. This is what I'm saying. I don't believe that. I know that. You understand? So with that being said, I just like to say, Auset, any questions before we close out? Any questions? I went fast. You know, we usually go lesson by lesson by lesson, but I kind of hit y'all with a lot. A lesson. Science. Right. That's key topic. Key topic. We need that. I mean, that's what we got. That's our healing. Like, we got to be doctors. That's right.
Hey, I just want to say this is my first time here. I learned a whole lot that you just spit at us. And one of the things that you said is still vibrating in my head is how they want to come in and take the people out. That reminds me of things that they're doing over in Iraq and Afghanistan.
And they've been training for this. That's right.
And not only that, when they killed a young guy the other day, they had some kind of FEMA.
The FEMA and all of it was 9 days before it happened. Training for
right here in Savannah.
And training for the helicopter to do the massive pepper spray.
Right. And see, they got we got a long history of struggle here in this part of the country.
Yeah.
And they know it. It's all in their congressional records and everything that the Yamasee come up under the Washita.
Yeah.
Them boys got a long history of that.
This Geechee, me and him just talked about it. I'll say this so you understand this. My grandfather, if any of y'all know anybody from the island, my grandfather's Isaac Anderson.
Yeah, I know him.
He out of Pembroke, longshoreman. My grandfather, from when I was little, you know, my grandfather's a boat builder.
Tuskegee Island, right there with Captain Simon.
My grandfather is a boat builder.
I know your folks.
Yeah. Used to do the boat. So while we used to sit in the yard and do the boat, he used to always say, Ain't no plantation master taught us how to build no boat.
No,
So then he used to teach me of our blood lineage that was called, that's why I tell you about Hasmonean. Because the Hasmonean dynasty is directly connected to the Yamasee. The Yamasee goes to the Washita. The wars of that go down to the 1812, the war with the General Jessup. We had, listen with the General Jessup, the white people was fighting. Listen what the Indian name is, so you kind of catch it. I know you, and you know this, with me, you know this. The Indian name that they had to catch, his name was Gator. That's a black man. That's what Gator. Hey, that was Gator. It was Gator. The brother name was Gator. And they tricked Gator down in Jessup to come for a treaty call. Like they gonna talk treaty. Then they killed him, thinking that would stop what they had called. Like they tried to trick us, say that's the Seminoles and the Seminole and the Creek Wars against the European, and they tried to say that those were slaves that united to them, but they don't want us to learn that there ain't been no slaves that united to them, even though it was slaves that came on the boat that we had took when you come through what they call Devil Crossing and Marsh Lane, where we make them jump off the boats and run down the little spots and come up into the little areas. But that blood lineage is a main component about why Savannah is registered as the 13th colony.
it is.
And I'm trying to put all the information together before I put it totally, but the 13th colony that's a Masonical number representing a blood lineage. You have 12 disciples, 12 tribes, and you have one extra, which always symbolizes a certain component. Savannah is a very key component in what's supposed to take place. And these people know that. So they have to stimulate the spirit of fear here, because they are very afraid of what could take place here.
It ain't gonna work.
Solomon Temple, #1, right here in Savannah. Solomon Temple, #1, right here in Savannah.
I don't think it's gonna work here in
Savannah.
Savannah. I don't think that fear is gonna work here. These are the fierces of the fierce right here.
Right.
No, it ain't gonna work.
And that's why this has to be the first testing ground. Because it's rubber bullets and tear glass in Ferguson. That's not gonna be here. They gonna shoot for real here.
It came though. It came.
Yeah.
137 state troopers came off 37th Street up MLK, man.
Yeah.
Like
Some
a
opportunities
parade.
there.
It's not gonna be rubber bullets here.
But they always practice that.
They gonna shoot for real here.
Well, we gonna shoot back.
Cause
And they know that.
They know like he's speaking.
They know that. They know that's gone here.
See, they mention, if you do research, they talk about the Yamasee War and they go 1715.
Yeah.
But what about the almost 300 years that the Amorites, when they came over here, we was killing them from the time they got off the boat?
They got they got a documentation. As a matter of fact, I might have the book here. You could go down to the diaspora market. There's a book in the diaspora market. It's called Yamacraw from Savannah, Yamacraw or something. Yeah, that's a book right there. In this book, let me show you right here what they say. I'm gonna give you a statement. I'm read Out of Yamacraw and Beyond, Discovery of Black Savannah. Let me read you a one statement so we could go, because we want to keep this catalog. The black presence, listen how they slip this in. This is the first statement, this is the first sentence in the introduction, y'all. But they slip it in there. But if you go back, listen, I'm going to give you this date. I want you to go back and go to your encyclopedias and look. And you'll see what was going on. The black presence in Savannah area began with the arrival of Spaniards and Africans in 1526. Listen what they're saying now. Around what is now called Sapelo Sound. Local African Americans tell the story, my granddad, that a ship of black men from Santo Domingo came up from Savannah River and conquered Spaniards on the coast long before James Edward Oglethorpe came here. So you have to say, well, darn, they slipped there. What an African black man in a boat riding around Georgia area, running people from this area. Like, you don't run nobody from an area unless you say, you know this is my area. Get the hell on. So, but they tell the story like they throw you off like the Africans just sailed over here. But you say, now, 1526, they around here fighting Spaniards, right? Now you take the date from 1526, give it about a 50-year window, right? Because they're going to play with you. Then look and see when the Yamasees were fighting the Spaniards, and you'll find out that they just told you that the black Africans that were fighting the Spaniards are the Yamasee. but they don't say it in the book.
They only give it a little cursory thing like 1715. That was it. But it was almost a 300-year
Long war. And that never
Bloody.
it never really ended.
bloody
That was
war.
the main coroner though.
Yeah.
Your granddad was numbers. That was the main
That was
coroner
the
coming
first
from
man
Africa
city.
to the east.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people. Mansa Musa and them
Yeah.
legend, and right there. You look at it, it's right there.
But they
Coming to bring you.
They kind of made us they kind of throw us and make us think that that connection was not here. And like I was just saying, my grandfather told me from the beginning that this your blood lineage. And your blood lineage come from here, and it go all the way here, and it go all the way here. You could trace yourself all the way back in time.
Right.
He said, as you my grandson, you my only daughter, son, I have to give you this so you carry it on. And so every day when I see my grandfather, we build, he'd tell me more. And he'd give me a little book. Like he gave me the Aquarian Gospel. He gave me some other stuff. He said, you know, like read different stuff. The training. So like, he really introduced me to studying on a certain different level.
Right.
By making my mind say there was more to our story than what I had been told.
Right.
Okay. So I hope that everybody in here learns that reality and learns to be able not to deliver that story or that science of life to everybody we come in contact with, and we know we'll be all right. I'd like to turn the meeting back over to our Prime Minister, Brother King Edward.